really how I got started with the Free American was I got information that George Bush, as director of CIA, was working for and covering for the Mossad, working down in Panama. I got the documentation from Colonel Edward P. Cotolo on Operation Watchtower, in which the CIA and the Mossad had taken over the drug trade in Colombia, and they were flying. They used the special forces to go down and build guide towers, radio guide towers in Colombia, in the jungles of Colombia, to guide over 100 planes into Albrook Air Force Base, and the cargo was cocaine. So
that's true.
This was happening right along the same time as Iran-Contra. And I think we hear a lot about the violence of the drug cartels, and it's my opinion that these drug cartels are working for and are being operated by our own CIA or the Mossad or the intelligence agencies around the country. They're the only ones that have the ability, the financing, and all that to do this. Is that? Am I just being paranoid? Am I being a conspiracy theorist?
Well, historically, you're absolutely correct, and the record is there. There's been probably 20 books written on the subject that I know of, that I've read over the last 25 years. The fellow Redman in Sacramento, at the Sacramento Bee, he committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the head, which is a feat beyond the capability of any human being. And that's what happens to people who get in their way. And it's one of the reasons I don't live in the United States. I don't want to end up like Bill Cooper. And I get too important a message, and the message is more important, and surviving is important, so the people who will understand who's doing what to them and why they're doing it. And as far as the narcotics are concerned, you're right. In fact, the fight in Mexico, to some extent, is between cartels. The big battle is with the government that wants to take over the whole business. That's what it's all about. More people are killed by military troops than they are narcos. And I know that to be a fact. And some of the killings are absolutely without any reason whatsoever. There was one instance in Sinaloa, 5 children, 5 young boys, 16 to 20, were in a convertible, and they were speeding and went through a red light. And as they went through the red light, the military just took their M16s and mowed them down. Killed 5 people right there, dead. And, the sergeant says, oh, we told them to stop, and they didn't. So we killed them. That goes on all the time. And of course, Sinaloa is one of the narco capitals of the world. And I know it quite well because I used to live there.
Now, it feels to me that they're pushing us towards, they're pushing these illegals. Now, Bob, I took over a factory. I run in a factory over in up in Phoenix, and I tried to get my foreman was an illegal, and he got caught and deported, and I went to INS to try to get him back in here legally. I couldn't do it, Bob. It was impossible. There was no framework set up, so that means that there's no framework set up to process these illegals, to keep track of the illegals, and to set it up so farmers or people could hire them. There's no way to do that. Evidently, I couldn't find it. So they have to come up here illegal if they want to work, and their jobs are obviously they can't get a job in Mexico. I don't know why. If we got all the Ford Foundation down there, if we got Ford plants down there, if we moved all of our productions down there, and I remember a quote by John McCain to my face. You know, my son's an engineer. I don't care if all the factories are moved to Mexico. But if the factories are moving to Mexico, and we warned what was going to happen in the Free American, we warned about NAFTA back in early 90s. And of course it's happening now. But why can't these people get jobs there? If we're exporting our factories there, why don't they have work? How are they forcing them to come up here?
Well, the stream of illegal aliens has slowed considerably over the last 2 years, and the reverse process is taking place. A lot of people are leaving and going back, we'll say, to Mexico. In fact, the state of Sinaloa, which is along the border, sent a group of people to talk to the politicians in Arizona in regard to this flow of families that are coming from the United States back into Mexico because they can't house them, they don't have jobs for them, etc. And of course there's a little tongue-in-cheek on that because they really don't want them back because everything is going well and they don't need more population in many of these small towns, and more often than not there's not work there. You talk about the different plants. Yes, they're there. They're all over the country. Aguas Caliente and Hermosillo and Michoacan, Puebla, and they've been there for a long time actually. And but they only supply so many jobs, and they're good jobs. They pay. The average Mexican probably makes $600 a month, and these jobs pay $700 or $800 or $900. If you're a supervisor, you might get $1,200 a month, and so those are the wages, and the good wages for them, because that's what the average person makes, and that's why they're able to compete. But unbeknownst to most Americans, and the Mexican government, as far as I can see, reports true figures, not bogus ones like England and the United States. Even Germany has bogus figures. And of course the Chinese, you can forget it. They're reporting inflation at 3.5%, which is probably spot on correct. But growth this year in Mexico is going to be 7.5%, and they didn't use any stimulus, and they raised taxes. So Mexico is doing well. Not super well, but certainly not in the position that the U.S. is in.
And they've done pretty much the same thing that Castro did. They sent all their criminals up here. And we'll pay $50,000.
They just entice them.
yeah, I understand.
I think it was a voluntary thing, quite frankly.
Well, there's more people to rob. They don't care. They're not robbing their own people. They're not tagging their own people to make a living as being a criminal. And you know, perhaps the CIA, if the CIA are bringing the drugs, that means that all of these criminals have got a pretty good employer. They're making pretty good money, aren't they?
They certainly are. Yeah, but the point is, they ever get to spend it. I mean, there's probably been 10,000 narcos gotten killed, and so it's a pretty dangerous profession. Whether the government shoots you or some other gang shoots you, you're still dead. And the funeral homes are a big business in Mexico.
Now, listen about this drugs. I'm an advocate for legalizing marijuana, and now they've got it on the ballot. I've been saying that for 30 years, and now it's on the